did was connect the physicians with these resources, have these resources go in with the representatives. The representatives then brought value to the provider, and they were seen as a valued resource to be able to come back in and talk.
Okay, does anybody understand
No.
any of that?
I can see that. No.
Yeah.
No.
What's a resource?
The reason
Okay.
why,
Mhm.
the reason why people don't understand
Yes.
is because you're using, I wish I knew a word.
Technological jargon.
Euphemism. You must still be
You're
professional.
using
Yes.
general
Okay.
words instead of specific words.
Okay, because I'm trying to stay away from jargon.
But you're not.
Okay.
So let's start it, so we all know that doctors only have, 7 to 10 minutes with the patient, during which time they, yes, are gonna diagnose and give a prescription. And I don't see how that connects to the pharmas.
Okay. So how that connects is with the rep even gets even less time if they get any time at all. And they don't get any time because they don't bring any value to the physician. They think that they're just talking to the physician about their brand is bringing value when it's really not. So they need to think about things a little bit differently and bring some service, something to the physician to help them pay attention to the spiel that they give. And they might not even give a spiel in that call. But it helps to help the provider, help the physician see the pharmaceutical company, in this case, as a valued resource. So, yeah, that's really basically it. So they give them more time. There's no quid pro quo, so there's no information given and then we write a prescription. But we have been able to show that if this rep has these resources, sales for that area go up for that product, for whatever products the reps have, simply because of the relationship then they are able to build.
What's a resource?
Okay, a resource could be, for instance, if you have diabetes, you should be connected with a clinical diabetes educator. And several physicians don't always have access to a clinical diabetes educator. They'll write a prescription and they'll hand that prescription over and tell the patient go do some research. Instead, we can tell them this is a clinical diabetes educator who's in your area that we can connect you to, and you can hand that resource over to the patient along with the prescription.
Okay. So, am I right, it used to be that the pharmaceutical companies got a hold of the doctors because they could give them a lot of stuff.
Right.
And wine and dine them, give them a lot of free stuff and all kinds of other stuff which is no longer allowed.
That's right, no
correct?
longer allowed.
So the whole relationship between the pharmaceutical representative and the physician has changed.
Not just because of that, though. That contributed to it, the lack of promotional items and the lack of being able to take people out for different activities certainly changed. Because in most businesses, you're able to do these things to create relationships.
Right.
But also, what happened on the other side is that the regulations got to be so tight with what a representative can say that the information that they can provide got more and more limited and more washed out.
And there's more generic competition.
Right.
So the pharmaceutical companies would rather sell still the branded
Absolutely.
drugs than the generic drugs.
Absolutely.
And so I think, and so what you're doing is you're retraining, tell me if I'm right about this.
Yeah.
You are retraining the pharmaceutical representatives on how they can have different relationships with the physicians so that their sales, so that they're able to more effectively sell their products.
Yes, as well as other parts of the company to get them to start thinking to prepare the rep for getting out there to think differently and how they.
But that's still part of the training
Yes.
of the reps, right?
Yes, it is eventually.
So you are assisting pharmaceutical companies in retraining their sales representatives so that they can more effectively communicate with their physician clients.
Partially, yes, but we are also not. We're also, part of this this is a cultural shift for companies.
Right.
Okay, so what we've learned is that we have to really start with the C-suite. We need to figure out how to infiltrate the company, find out who the champions are really in the company, and make sure that this becomes part of the culture of the company.
Okay, all right, so that's fair. So it's more than just the training of the reps
Right.
per se, it's also helping the pharmaceutical companies to see that their training must change, and then, so you sort of show them the path, and then you also do some of the training.
Yes.
Okay, so it's
That's
much
part
clearer
of
to me, is it clear to other people?
Well, I have a clarifying question, because I'm still struggling a little bit, Diane. Are you providing now resources, there's that word again, are you providing a program so people, so when I as the rep go to the doctor, there's, you know, if I'm working in oncology, there's a list of resources now that I can talk to the doctor about and say, hey, if you're writing this prescription, there is a group, there's a support group for your patients that they could join that would be helpful to them. Is it that tactical?
Yes, it is that. It's
So you're creating almost like looking for community programs that they can tap into?
We've actually done that. That's exactly what we've done. We've
Okay.
created what we call community health action teams. So there are advisory boards in different cities that drive, that actually know what resources are available in those cities. They tell us what's available. They vet them. We don't. So they're vetted locally. And then those resources are made available to.
So I'm just trying
But
to.
that's just part of this.
So that's what, the thing I'm struggling with, and I think, I'm just trying to figure out if I'm not in the industry, what is it exactly you do? And you really are a consultant to them, to provide, really to have them look at their programs and revamp them.
Yes.
In the new marketplace.
That's right. That's right.
So-
What we do, we go in, we assess what they're doing already, but what they're doing right now is not centered on the patient, it's centered on the brand. And let me, I'm sorry, because I'll give you an example.
No, that's helpful.
Coca-Cola knows who in here drinks soda, right? They care about making sure whatever it is that you drink from their line is available, right? Even if you don't drink soda, it could be Poland Spring, one of their brands.
Right.
They know their consumer, their end user incredibly well. They just make sure that the Coca-Cola and whatever else is in the distribution channel that you go to, that you use. Pharma, on the other hand, knows their distribution channel. They don't understand their end user. So when they're thinking of developing strategies or even direct to consumer, anything, even if it's not to consumer, any strategy that they develop internally, anything, is usually around the brand. So if Coca-Cola continued to just focus on Coca-Cola and its distribution channel, it wouldn't be in business too long. We've been fortunate in the pharmaceutical industry that we haven't been faced with this, but now with the industry changing, we've had to think about things differently. So now we need to think about this end user, and this is, they don't understand the needs of the end user. So it's more than getting, changing their programs, it's getting to start think about things very differently, because they need to do this based on what the patient needs and not their own needs.
Okay, so to add to that, I think the confusion here is now that you've explained it,